Today is Trayvon Martin's birthday. Look at that, man. May my brother rest in peace.
They talked
Trayvon.
They talked about that actually here inside the Black Panther Party, inside the Apollo Bay. They gave honor for tributes to recognize his birthday.
Yeah, and Zimmerman still walking the streets.
Still getting his own trouble.
George Zimmerman is still walking the streets, but we want to threaten each other, black man and woman. You see that? That's to show you y'all really not about that life, man. Because if you was really a gangster, you'll go out there and look for fucking George Zimmerman. Prove to us that you a killer for real. Threatening Sarnetta, threatening the Amara, threatening all of us, man. Come on, man. Y'all niggas is corny. We don't respect that.
That's right.
See, that's why you gotta be careful when you make threats. Talking about the Amara squad bet not come to Philly. They in Philly right now. You see? And y'all ain't gonna do nothing to them. Y'all ain't gonna do nothing, man. Where y'all at? You got anything new out that's promotional?
Best thing to do.
Where y'all at, man? That's why you should be careful. See, now everybody know that you full of shit. That you be bullshit. Them brothers is in Philly. They in your town, getting it in. You know? They know you full of shit now. Everything I do, you want to do. I get my microphone. I put my logo on it. You get a microphone. You put a logo on it.
Yeah.
See, this is the house of consciousness, man. You know, we get a microphone. You get a microphone. Put a logo. You get a logo. You get now. We get a logo. You get a logo. You know, I do live stream on the YouTube, getting the people in it. Now you do a live stream on the YouTube. You see, you don't want to give me no credit, no props, though.
Right.
But you dick riding Sarnetta.
Right.
You doing every fucking thing I do. Give me some props at least, goddammit.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
Let
right.
the world know who influenced you to do what you do today.
That's right, Sarnetta.
God
Brother
damn.
Sarnetta,
That's all we say.
If they don't, the world know who the man is.
Listen, I don't care if you bite everything I do. Bite
Right.
my style, bite my technique. But just give credit to where you learned how to do it from.
Right.
Don't sit on my platform and you doing every fucking thing that I do.
Go ahead, Sarnetta.
Talking against my debates. But every time we listen to you, you ain't doing nothing but debating on your program. You having debates.
Right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Peace, my brother. You
Hey,
doing
man,
everything, man. Stop biting the Bozak. That's how we used to say it back in the days.
Yup.
Get off the Bozak.
Word.
Man. That's how we used to do it back in the days, man. We wasn't saying you hating. We would say, get off the Bozak.
Word.
That's what we were saying back in the day.
That's right.
So come on, family. Get off the damn Bozak, man. Peace and Black Power. Black Power 102. This is the world beat.
Peace and Black Power. Welcome to another edition of Baba TV, House of Consciousness. It's my absolute pleasure to finally meet this mighty brother right here, Brother Ishmael Allah Bey from my hometown, Syracuse. And this brother right here that make amongst a few others that makes me proud to be from the 315. And brother, it's just a pleasure and a privilege to have finally met you, brother. I really don't know what to say other than just go into whatever you feel like dealing with in your wellspring of knowledge, brother.
Oh man, Brother Baba, it's such an honor and a pleasure. Thank you so much for giving me a platform, as well as with Amin Ra Squad. We definitely want to welcome, all of your viewers to the works that we're doing here with Amin Ra Squad. Of course, I'd be remiss if I did not give the first shout out to the soldier right here on my left right here, the Magi himself, Brother Jonathan Owens Smash Rockwell. You know what it is. And, we out here in Harlem getting things set up for, doing the street information here in New York. Also making some moves in Philadelphia today. So make sure y'all get a chance to check out the works of the videos as they upload live in Philadelphia. It's going to be today. And we have some future projects coming up and I'm going to pass it on to Brother Jonathan, and we're just going to pass the mic and do what we do.
Y'all know what we do. What's up, Baba TV? It's your man, Brother Jonathan, Amara Squad. Matter of fact, I brought you a gift, man. If you can show them people what we banging. Man. It's the Magi Archers, if y'all don't know. Magi Archers. You know what I'm saying? Academics, research, you know what I'm saying? Charity, housing, economics, resources, and security. So that's Archers right there, and we the Magi, you know what we doing, straight a division of the Amara Squad. If y'all don't know, you check out my book, Magi Handbook for the Conscious Community. You know what I'm saying? You can copy right online, type in Brother Jonathan or Jonathan Magi and get it. Or you can catch us in Philly, February 6th, so that's tonight. So y'all might miss that one. But still, we in Black and Nobel, February 6th.
Brother, I heard something about your economic program that you got. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's the Magi Archers, and it's really a cooperative economic conglomerate, you know what I'm saying? And not to speak, I mean, we all familiar with those terms, but just to break it down, we know what cooperating is. We know what economics is. A conglomerate is simply a bunch of distinct units that come together and form a whole. And so in this cooperative economic conglomerate, which we call the Magi, we trying to unite and teach our youth primarily. We're teaching for what we know, so the majority of us are authors already anyway. So what we're going to do is step forward, make an effort to teach the youth how to become authors in order to feed their family. We want to teach inmates how to become authors in order to put money on their commissary books. And we also in a whole lot of other fundraising ideas and opportunities, you know what I'm saying? But you can check it out at Magi Archers, MADJAI Archers.com, and, you know, sign up for a free membership and see what it's all about, you know what I'm saying?
Aside from what Brother Jonathan was also just talking about, is a part of our prison program is we're giving inmates access to books. We're going to find out avenues that we can get the books actually shipped to them directly, as well as using the avenues traditionally like the Amazon. And like he also stated, you know, putting the commissary on the books. We're pushing the prison programs as well as the college programs. So we're making inroads and networking with many various institutions of higher learning so that we can network with our youth within these institutions so they can challenge the academia at the highest level. So those are two major things that we're investing in, the prison programs and also the college programs
Let me
too.
show them why. Because it break down like this. When you get arrested, what you get booked, right? Yeah, they book you, and then you go through the judicial system, and if you get sentenced, you need money on your commissary books. So again, I want to teach inmates how to become authors in order to put money on to feed their family, and the money be placed directly back on their commissary books. But that's just one program. We got a plethora of programs, and it ain't all about economics. It is all about economics, but you also got to gain some of the knowledge. So we got workshops and consultations, and we trying to bring it to the people, man. You know what I'm saying? You know?
Just to switch gears just a little bit, I heard this brother Ishmael on, I think it was the Nikki Love show. It might have been, I hate to rehash the past, but it blew my mind. You was on there with Ali Muhammad, and it tripped me out how you went straight to the source talking about Atlantis and Lemuria, breaking down the myth of that. And Ish he didn't debate our people over it. Ish, if I remember correctly, went right to the European who put out the book and made him recant his own information. Am I correct? Oh, man. Talk a little bit about that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And this is actually good because you brought up two brothers from Amara Squad that dealt with this particular topic in two different ways. What it was this is in 2009. There was a lot of misinformation being spread throughout the conscious community about our lands of origin. So a lot of people are pushing, as you accurately stated, Brother Baba, Lemuria, Land of Mu, these mythical origins, and we had to take it back. We had to take it back to our motherland, our mother culture, to make sure that we are dispelling the myths. So yes, you're accurately right. I went to the Church Ward family, James Church Ward family, and I let them know that I was waging war on them until they denounced either that their ancestors' teachings, or they have to defend their teachings because it was totally false. And actually, in a good, positive way, the Churchward family apologized to me for the information of what was being taught to our community. We came into an agreement that they would put out a video denouncing two particular things: the falsehoods of Ali Muhammad and the claims about us coming from the land of Mu, as well as the Washita Moors. He put out two separate videos apologizing for that, denouncing them, and bearing witness that Africa was the mother of all civilizations. Now, that was separately. Brother Jonathan then came and joined the squad a couple years later. I had removed my videos because my agreement with the Churchward family was, if you put out these videos, I will remove my videos as a truce, as long as you keep your videos up. And I kept my word and I took my videos down. Not even knowing that my videos were down, Brother Jonathan then came on and was dealing with the same exact topic, and Brother Jonathan can elaborate on what he did on the topic.
Yeah, I honestly, that was some of my first research doing with Ish back. This is about 2009, 2010, and I think well, this Lemuria story, I think it was another man involved. When my research leads me to Augustus Plagione, and that's what I think I had questions for you about his. But we did research and find out that all this Queen Mother Mu stuff was nonsense, and that he came up with this story by mistranslating what they called the Trojan Codex. You know what I'm saying? And so that was a grave mistake at one. As me, I wasn't even on the Amara squad yet. I think I seen you do a few Facebook posts about the subject, and we started corresponding in the inbox about the subject, and he hit me off with a bunch of information that he had done on it already, so I kind of like buried what I was doing once I found out that Ish had already deaded the matter, you know what I'm saying? But to keep it real, that's what we do as the Amara Squad. We debate, and we debate each other too, but if we get to the zenith of the information, it's time to take it somewhere else and not just stay domestically in our own community fighting each other with the information. It's time to take it to the world and straighten up some of that information. So I don't know if y'all know, I specialize in the Medu Neture, and being from the Amara Squad, well, this is what we do. And so when they start putting out a lot of that BS misinformation about the homosexuality or what have you, instead of running up on these dudes in the community who was doing it, I needed to get directly back to the source. So you see how I tore Nazi up by exposing his source. He was getting his information from a flaming transsexual, so that wasn't cool, but I couldn't just vilify the flaming transsexual. For that, I had to go into the flaming transsexual source. So we find out this comes from R.B. Parkinson's, the museum curator at the British Museum, as well as the teacher, a professor of Egyptology at Oxford. And so I contacted Parkinson's, and I gave him my translations of a museum Astrakhan that he had mistranslated, and I can make all this stuff public, or I can provide the documents for you for whenever you air this. And I made him recant the same way Brother Ish made the Churchward family recant, you know what I'm saying? I made him recant his translation, and he did it kind of slick. He said, he didn't say, oh, I was wrong, but in the email you can see him say, well, this one was really hard for me to translate and blah, blah, blah. And so basically it was one of the sources that some of the opponents or the enemies of Kemet used to say that there was sexual deviance in Kemet. So that's what we do. We straighten out that knowledge, and not just brother to brother. We got to take it to their mothers too, you know what I'm saying? And that's real.
And just to make it clear, that's the whole design of what Amara Squad was made and prepared for. We're prepared to crush Ivy League pseudo-academia. That's it. We're really not, in the business of wrecking up our own people. We were made and designed to crush the people that are the authors of the lies, not just dealing with the web, but the spiders who produce the web. That's what we do. We crush the pseudoism at the root. And once you rip it out of the root, then that's when our minds can be free, and that's when our culture can expand. We take it back to the mother culture. We take it back to what we understand as indigenous people, and spiritually, mentally, and on every single level. Now, economically, that's a whole nother level of where we're trying to take it back to. Economic independence. Once we can do that and make our own relationships with foreign nations, destinations, where then we can move our own products independently, then that's the next level that we're trying to take it to as Armored Raw Squad. You had another question, brother?
No, other than I'm thankful that both of you brothers, brother, thank you for this sweatshirt, man. I appreciate you, brother. I really respect that. Thank you. And how you doing, brother?
I'm all the way from Chicago.
Oh, brother. Sankofa.
What's going on? Fortress?
Oh man,
You got any questions you want to ask Ishmael?
Like, what? That gotta be Fortress.
How y'all doing?
Peace, peace and black power, man.
Black
Peace,
power.
brothers. Peace, Hotep. All of the good greetings of terms of nobility attributed to you, brothers, who are well deserving of those, those terms of nobility. My question to you a bit. This is freestyle off the top, but the spirit moves me, so it's authentic nonetheless. It's always organic. I didn't have nothing written like, oh, I'm gonna ask. I didn't even know I was gonna see you, brothers, because I know tonight Philly is the destination, and we're gonna put it down. And Philly ain't gonna never be the same after the Armored Raw Squad, the Marzi, and Team Osiris hit it. You know what I'm saying? Their brotherly love, man, is gonna be different. What I wanted to ask you was this, man. Because y'all are doing big things, and I respect what y'all are doing. You know, and the word organization is the word organ. You probably heard it said before, but I'm gonna reiterate it, and that makes a lot of sense. A body has different organs, different parts.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That contributes to the whole functionality overall of the body. It's essential. It keeps the balance and the functionality of the body going. Y'all have Team Osiris. Y'all have the Mosey tribe. If you understand what the Mosey tribe was different tribes in Africa that came together, man. So the defense mechanism is there. The skillship of creativity, the science is there. The brothers into the Metu Nature. This is right here. Brother Jonathan is one of my ideological, I'm trying to get to his level. I'm gonna put it that way, man. You know what I'm saying? When I listen to him, he makes me realize how much we have to step it up. Real talk, man. So he's my he is my intellectual idol. You know what I'm saying? I humbly and proudly say that. But back to what I was saying, y'all have different organs or organizations within the collective umbrella of the Armored Raw Squad. I wanted to say, because y'all are doing big things and y'all are moving, and I know y'all gonna have a great impact. Where do you see the Armored Raw Squad in 10 years from now? Do you see a transition in the name because it's bigger and broader? Where do you see it? Will whites be able to join at a certain point in history? Where do you see this navigating as it expands and grows? Different ideas and different minds attract to it. What is the safeguard to keep it from going off of what the original format and destination is?
I think as Armored Raw Squad as a whole, we all have core values of how we function. We have the flexibility in order to play within the strengths of each individual. If I know that I have to break down something from the African languages, I can come to my brother Jonathan, I can come to brother Sinjeti, I can go to Asar Imhotep, and I know that they have the West African and the African knowledge and wisdom in order to do that. Everyone has their particular strength within the family. So within that, if you're not in the family, there's no Europeans or outsiders in any of our forums at all. So it's a prerequisite that you do have to be of the indigenous family in order to come in. We use kind of flexibility as far as, look, if you are of Hispanic or Asian persuasion, you have to have core African values, but that's not even anything that we focus on. We have over 10,000 members within our particular forum, and it's a very active forum, and we have very active members who enable us to do the things that we do for the community. So investments of what we do for Armored Raw Squad right now is we're focusing on education. We have, yesterday we were dealing with the brother Ajay Tayembe. He's focusing on an independent school in Harlem. We have the school being invested in Baltimore right now. So we would like to actually build our own institutions and have our own books and have our own teachers that are in these institutions, because we're investing in our youth. Dr. Maya is investing in our youth, and by her being able to do that, it's saying that, look, if we can change their minds at the youngest age, at 4 and 5, then we already have someone else catching them at 12 and 13, and we already have our own children, our physical children, in colleges now. So our children are challenging the academia on every single level already, because we've been invested in this for almost a decade now. So by us doing this in a decade straight, our children have now evolved into stepping into these institutions, challenging these professors, etc., and redefining what is going to be acceptable and what will be unacceptable. So that's one thing that we have. Brothers like Brother Jonathan is a Renaissance man into himself. He masters a form of music that is already taking our message on a whole nother realm, as well as the other brothers that are already investing into music. So we network one brother with another brother who's another brother, and then we are taking it, so we would like to get into things like battle rap. We like to get into things like commercial music and redefining these relationships.
Yeah, just to add to what Brother Ish was saying, I mean, everything I'm doing with the Magi Archers, I'm putting my foot in it, everything I know, everything I learned in hip-hop. If y'all don't know, I got signed to Jive Records in 1993 for $250,000. You go look that up. My name is Casual. I'm with the crew Hieroglyphics, but I didn't want to make my way in no other community like this. I said, no, my name is Jonathan. Let's see if I really got that knowledge. You know what I'm saying? And so what I learned in the hip, for instance, I was on Sway in the Morning yesterday, the Super Bowl edition, talking about the Magi Archers to help us bring what we doing to the actual masses of the hip hop community. So I had to put my little bars down first to show what it was still was, and then I start talking about my conglomerate. And so you feel, I learned, I opened up Magi Music, a label for our members to distribute music with Empire Distribution just before I left, and also did another deal with Hip Hop TV in order to get them content. And lo and behold, Hip Hop TV is what y'all don't know, that's an up and coming black-owned company that we need to support. But since they got that hiphoptv.com and it's black owned, that's where we can go to find our content. So I'm making sure I help support that platform. And this is what we mean when we talking about a cooperative economic conglomerate. It don't mean nobody running what you do. It just means, okay, we know who we go to for services, and we all work for ourselves and for the collective, you know what I'm saying?
And within each organ of the body, we have specialists on those organs. So if someone needs a neurosurgeon, we have someone that can specialize on your brain, someone on your lungs, someone on your feet, someone with your blood and your skin. We have specialists within Amir Ra Squad that are specific in their disciplines, and we're here to heal the body.
I had a question.
Okay, before you ask the question, I want to say, man, that was a powerful answer, and it's good that you have these things and you can define what they are and where you definitely want to go, because the blueprint is essential. And the reason why I asked that question is because usually when we do things, and I can see a big impact happening and abounding from this, the reason why I say that, because you're covering a broad array of things that need to be addressed. And our pathologies are multiplicity, so we have to have a multiplicity of healing, platforms, teachings, and sciences to really break the shackles on many different levels. Right. But usually when we start to do that and it starts to have an impact on a vast level, here come the Jew. Right. Here come the other people with other vested interests to integrate, to offset, to water down, to dilute that which was intended to help us transcend. And y'all definitely have, from what I see and from what I'm hearing, and I want to delve into more, definitely so, y'all have a blueprint for liberation on many different levels. Man, one of my favorite teachers is Dr. Amos Wilson, and he had the blueprint for Black Power. Now that's a book. He would be angry to just see us reading his book and quoting his quotes. What would make him happy in the realm of the El Gungun is to see us taking that platform and making many more blueprints and actualizing them and manifesting them into tangible realities right now, helping to heal the pathologies and liberate us. And I want to commend y'all for doing that and being an example of that, man. So peace and Black Power. The young brother right here from Chicago, my man Fortune. Chicago's in the building. Chirac, stand up. All right, wake up, clean up, and stand up, brother. Here you go, brother.
I got a question. Hey, peace to the family. This is Fortune from MBK, Team Osiris, Mossy, Magi. I rep it all. I look at it like somebody taking their kids to school and getting them up in the after school matters, right? So my question is, we have a lot of young people. We have a lot of people who are in transit to gain consciousness, and we know that we have books written, a repository of books written by our ancient ancestors and our most common ancestors, some of them that passed on. These are thick books. These are not easy reads that you can microwave. You know what I'm saying? I know the brother Jonathan did a lot of research for the Kim and on trial debate. He went through a lot of books. For somebody like me, yes, I take my time. I do not want to be pseudo. I don't want to microwave it. And what I want to ask you guys is, there was a time where I was training to be a security guard, and of course I wasn't going to be a cop, but they gave me what they're called a 20-hour basic certificate to know just the basics of what I needed to know. I want to ask, what is it for young people and just people in general, black people, whoever going to be down with our movement, what are the core essentials? Because it's not like we're going to take 6-8 years a piece and all learn everything, then apply it. We need to learn how to just be soldiers and let certain people be in their lane already, because you can spend 8 years and then you go out there and you don't have some other training, you get your head blown off and all those books spill on the floor. So what would be our basic certificate for people to be qualified to be in this? The basics is, you know, like for somebody like me at the moment in transit, so that we don't come off disrespectful with pseudo information off the internet thinking that we have it and then we're gonna go against our elders or anybody else with real knowledge and get disrespected or cause disrespect, therefore causing a further rift between us. Like, what would be the basics for us? Thanks.
Oh yeah, that was a powerful question, and it made me think of a lot of different things as you went through the question. But what I'm thinking about mostly is this is mainly why knowledge has been handed out in degrees. You know what I'm saying? No matter where you get it, if you get it in masonry, you get a degree, you first, second, third, or if you get it in college, you getting degrees. And now what we think about degree is just simply a measurement of an angle. You know what I'm saying? So how much they giving you is what you getting with that degree. I feel like we need certain type of pedigrees and just like you said, certificates in the conscious community, but we don't have an authoritarian or no central body that is governing the conscious community. So what I'm doing with the Magi is manifesting a few things that we suggest that each member do within 1 year, and they all are feasible.
Can you list a few things that we like should know, like?
For instance, but it crossed the board, because I told you I'm talking about everything from academics to charity, housing, economics, and security. So one recommendation is and this will also help us on a rank-based meritorious system. If everybody passed all of their credentials, this is what I mean. We should all have a firearms certificate to show that we have firearms training. Within 1 year, if we members of the Magi, why wouldn't we? Because it only take you like 2 days or 48 hours to get your firearm certificate. Exactly. I mean, again, but and for the brothers who aren't with it, if you disqualified, you disqualified, but you can step forward in another capacity. We might need the brothers who can't do that to step forward in the more physical hand-to-hand combat aspect. But just talking about certain credentials that we should get, why shouldn't each member of the organization be CPR trained within 1 year? Just why not? They got all this stuff out here, and we looking for other stuff when we could just go grab some of the basics. It would help us as an organization as well as individuals, because now you can spin off and be like, sure, I got 2 certificates. I might want to go get it. You know, help my economic situation another way. And so, as far as what you was initially speaking to, us having some authority or a body that actually, like, yo, you ain't even qualified yet because you ain't passed these certain levels. We have to come together no matter, and it's going to have to, regardless, it's going to have to be Kemet, Hebrews, Moors, everybody is not going to be able, it has to be a representative from every, I would say, in order, because the Kemet team can't come out and tell the Hebrews what to do.
Right.
They're not taking it like that. They're going to do what they want. So we need a respectable person from every team sitting on a board that's saying what should go down in the conscious community.
Go ahead.
And I think it's also very important. That's excellent job, brother. I think what's also very important is to set up tangible goals, you know, and finding things that we deal with every single day. Tangible goals as far as altering our diet and making sure that we're staying on top of our own personal health and our family's health. You know, one of the most important things that I did is coming up. It probably took me about a good decade to be bold enough to even ask certain questions to certain people. You know, Brother Baba, look over here to the right over here, brother. Put your camera over here. 125. 125 is when I would come down here to get supplies. When we were selling our supplies in Syracuse, New York, we were at Colvin and Salina Street. And we would come down and get our supplies. And when we would come down here to 125, Dr. Khaled would be right there in the entrance. He would be there in the entrance. And as we're picking up our supplies, he would walk the entire room of the 125, going to the various different stores. And I was the brother from Syracuse that he knew from the university of me being in the Syracuse Mosque and doing security for him when he would come up to Syracuse University. But I was always humble enough just to sit back and observe. I was observing him as he walked the room. And I understood my role and my position as a little brother, just to, number one, look out for his back, and number two, just observe and see how he networked and how he worked the room like a diplomat, like a mayor, like a president. How he owned Harlem, how he would double park his car just to come right in and come and talk to us and greet us. So I learned from that, and I learned how to conduct myself as a man and how I could withstand certain things as a man and the challenges that I would face as a man, taking on bigger enemies and enemies that he trained me to take on, and how to conduct myself as a soldier. So I was able to learn these certain things and then internalize these certain things, and now I was able to develop my own group and carry on these same type of values in the same type of way. So tangible goals are things that we can focus on that I think would be very, very important for our people to learn from.
Okay. You got a question? Yeah, I got one question. Brother Jonathan, you sitting here in New York, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, a lot of people don't know I didn't know how big of a deal this guy was. People that know hip hop, that schooled me, because I do hip hop in Chicago, ranked him in the top 5 hip-hop artists of all time. They rank Oakland as one of the top 5 places where you can find some of the best MCs. And this is not just the average rap cat or rap question that I'm asking, because we're dealing with seriousness. Hip-hop is serious. It's a part of our culture that's been hijacked just like everything else recently. And I wanted to ask this brother, because he was mentioning to me about the possibility of me actually making real money to live on, not flashy money, to actually live off my own music and artistry and hip-hop. And I wanted to ask him about the hip-hop lifestyle, about a lot of brothers exaggerating and selling us lies as far as renting jewelry, renting cars, and the proverbial so-called selling their soul to the devil. And I just want to set the context to it. And when you go in like the Hebrew, the word devil means enemy. So in a way, a lot of these brothers are selling themselves out not just to the physical enemy, the white man and and whoever else, but their own self. When you go against your own virtues and lie about who you are and lie to people, you put on jewelry, you put on costumes, you're acting like you're attracting all these women, and these people that, like us, we grow up and we look at them as male models. And we want to be like them, and we're keeping a fraudulent cycle going on. So I wanted to ask Rap God about making money in hip-hop, what kind of money you are actually making in reality, and the fraudulentness in hip-hop with people perpetrating.
Yeah, that's a good topic and a good question, because there's a lot of deception where it lies. I mean, and even on the top levels, we seen 50 Cent get right in court and say, shit, I just be lying. He know he's extremely clever brother, but he knew he had that option to be like, shh, I just be lying. Why did he have that option? Because there are a lot of MCs out there who are really lying. A lot of us in the street, they say, well, fake it till you make it. I hate terms like that. I'm like, no, don't fake it till you make it, just keep it 100. But I won't call it a consultation, but just build it with my brother on what we know about music is about readjusting what we think success is and reformulating it. Everybody thinking gold, platinum, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, one thing we understand, if you sign to a label, one of the first tricks they pull on you is they switch the word percentages to points. So you can't identify that you are accepting 1 or 2%. They're not gonna call it that, they're gonna call it points. Be like, we give you 5, 6 points. You think that's cool. You thinking it's out of 10. You don't ever think, oh, it's out of 100? And so that's one of the first things they do. So now that you got 6 points, you got 6% of your own music. On the flip side of that, if we doing an independent hip hop, from the gate, as soon as you create the product, and we also gotta talk about simple economics when we talk about this, because it's production, distribution, and consumption. And it's the same thing with music. As soon as you produce the music, you got the product. But the problem people have is they can't find a distributor. And so they're looking for a record company to distribute their music, and then they sign away all their rights to some distributor to where they're getting a reduced amount of the money. I'm telling us, in being independent, we can reserve our power in, first of all, if we had a cooperative economic system, you could just come to another brother to distribute your music who probably wouldn't be ripping you off the same way. But as we discussed, putting out records independently, you about to get 10 times the money. And let's just be fair, because I got a deal right now where I'm getting like $5 a record. If it's $10 on iTunes, iTunes want their 30% off the top. You probably can't even get off get any good placement on iTunes unless you got a good distributor or distribution deal, and they want their money too. And so then, okay, by the time you get down to your coin, you probably getting like 50% of what you asked for on the sales price independently. But we just was talking about getting 6 cents on the dollar when you was on the major label. So let's think about it now. Okay, let's just do little small math. I'm just talking about easy math. I said $4.50, $5 a unit in a store selling, and you just sold 1,000 units the first month. That ain't no real money, all right? But if you just starting out, you got a quick 5 racks that first month, and that's only 1,000 units. You can't push more than 1,000 units. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I've had deals and everything, but at a certain point in time, I cut an independent album. It was called Truck Driver. You can find it. It was only for sale. The majority of people who got it beginning got it from my hand because I was like, forget that. I want to sell this for $10. I don't want no distributors. I sold 4,000 of them out my hand for $10. And so I'm like, okay, that ain't no biggie. I mean, that ain't no Jay-Z type money, but 40 racks off 4,000 CDs is cool. And so, exactly. And so when we change what we see as success in the industry, man, please, you don't got to be on MTV, BET. You can be on Baba TV talking to the people right here, and they still can get your music. You know what I mean?
Oh, man. That's what's up, man. This is going to be like, I want to make this my last question on hip-hop because I don't want to make this a monolithic discussion. But very briefly, let's talk about the hijacking of hip-hop and how acceptable and how respectably we could allow other people who are genuine to represent it. But like we were saying about the certificate, and Brother Ishmael was saying, if we include certain different demographics, they have to uphold the tenets that are set forth. This is not just a, this is the condition of the people being put into music. So we're not gonna have like Macklemore's pushing homosexuality in our music. We're not gonna have Iggy Azalea's or anybody pushing our sisters to put weave in their hair to look like them. I know you had a situation with the whole Rap God Eminem thing yourself, so I just want you to address the hijack of hip hop by different cultures, and how can we respectively allow them to come in, but under our tenets to be respectful?
Oh, that's a good one. It's always been good for white people to be down in hip hop as long as they kept it what it was. We seen the Beastie Boys, but they kept it what it was. Yeah, they stayed like, yeah, they didn't act like they was smack dab front center in hip hop. They was like, we a white group. How you like us? And that's all good. And just to keep it real, I mean, you know, it's grown a lot since then, and all of it boils back down to our responsibility in protecting our own culture and our failure to understand economics. Production. Even a music producer's called a producer. So we originally produced all these things, but what we failed, we let other people distribute it. Right. And so the distributors was giving us the money. It sounds like a distributor if you think in record in industry terms, but in economics, distribution is just someone who does not produce a product, but he gets it to the consumer. So that's a record company too. It could be a car lot. It could be anything, but record companies don't make records. So they're not distribution companies, but in the sense of an economic scheme, they are. Because they don't make nothing. They just buying something from somebody and distributing it. And that's where we messed up. We lost a lot of power by letting them pick what they're gonna distribute to the consumer. If we making the music, we producing it all, and then we take it to somebody who don't even know nothing about it, but he just got all the cake. He gonna pick something that we probably don't think is the best pick, and then give it to the consumer, you know what I'm saying? And in turn, as another mistake we made, well, I wouldn't even say mistake, because once an idea is birthed, it's not controlled. It ain't controlled by color. Some white boy really want to rap. He be at the house trying to think of some bars. Eminem is a nice MC. He reached good heights. You know what I'm saying? And so it's not like you can limit the mind once they get a hold of your idea. For instance, all right, let's go back to the paleo. Let's go back to the first man. Man was he was trying to cut some meat. We talked about this before. He trying to cut meat off an animal, and he looked over at another man using a sharp rock doing it. But he over there tearing. And see, he looked and he like, shit, I'm about to find me a rock and start cutting some meat too. That don't necessarily make the second man. I mean, emulation is a little bit different than imitation. You know what I'm saying? And I know emulation is an attempt to try to be better than what you, but that ain't necessarily bad. I'm just keeping it all the way 100. We gotta stay on our toes. If a white boy could get in your shit and almost reach the zenith of your shit, then it ain't even your shit. Like, I'm just keeping it real. That's how I feel about it.
Question to Ishmael Bey. I'm sure a lot of people, not just myself, see how articulate and intelligent this brother is. That is discipline, how you can sit there and not jump in and not cut people off. I want to ask him about reading. This is a very important part. When I was young, I wasn't the best mathematician, but I love reading because it sparked my imagination. I felt like something happened to me later on. I got distracted. I got unruly. I got into other things in the school system. I want to talk about reading and what is a good way to get black people into reading as far as reading and comprehending, because we have, like I said, we have a lot of thick books and a lot of people may get sleepy, tired, or lazy and get distracted with these phones. Can you share some of the things that helped you get into reading? It's not always the most fun thing for a lot of people, but I can tell that like you read and you get the knowledge because of the way you articulate yourself. Could you talk about reading?
Certainly. The old saying goes, if you can't change the people around you, change the people around you. So that's the situation that I kind of came in. You know, I came up being surrounded around brilliant people my entire life. One of the most smartest people that I know is probably my sister. Engineer 30 years, cum laude, Howard, set a good example for me. Mother, local activist in Syracuse, New York, did marches, all of that stuff. I put myself in an environment, or I was in an environment of people that were always learning. One of my oldest friends is Professor Denham L. He's been my friend for almost 40 years now. That's growing all the way up. And he's Professor I Self, the one that I did the Scientology video with. Sharif A. Bey. Known Sharif A. Bey for over 25 years. You know, as we were 20 years old and coming up in these ranks, I surrounded myself around people who are like minds like me. So by me wanting to have a thirst for knowledge, and as an adult, I surrounded myself by creating an environment of top scholars. Top scholars keep me at the top of my game. They make sure that as I'm thinking that I'm at a level, they take me to an entirely different level. So I can sit back and I smile when I see brilliance. When I see brilliance, when I see brilliance, when I see brilliance. I can smile because I understand that I'm surrounded in the right thing. And as these brothers are growing and elevating, it keeps my game tight. Y'all were at my room last night. My room has books all in it. Not even dealing with the topic that we're dealing with in Philadelphia tonight. Totally independent of that, but I'm making sure that the information that I'm gathering is for lectures that are going to be 6 months, 4 months, 2 years from now. I'm already investing in my knowledge of myself. So that's what I do. If I'm on the road, I'm still reading. Half of the weight of my luggage is probably my books. Is that right?
That's how it be.
Exactly. So y'all see what I'm traveling with. You know what I mean? And not even debating anyone. You know what I mean? So you invest in yourself. And we have a very good support system within Amon-Ra Squad who support us because they realize that the information that we're able to buy, some of our books are $100, $200, $300, $400 for some of these books. And as I'm investing in these books, the support system understand that we give back. We give back to share the knowledge and information so that we're freeing our people's mind. So we invest in the books, the people invest in us, and then we all invest in the culture.
That's what's up. I had this other question. A lot of people of color, specifically black people in America, when they think of their history, the first thing they may think of is slavery, the transatlantic slave trade. I was asking you about reading because it tied in. Doing a little bit of research and reading, I found out that black people, we're not the only people who experience mass slavery. And not to make it seem as if we're catering to other people, but I think it's a self-esteem thing, as if we were the only one targeted by that. I want to see if you guys can address slavery found in There was a certain thing called the Black Sea Trade. It was it was the Slavish people, the Circassian people, dealing with the Tartars brought into the Ottoman Empire. You also had Asian slavery. You also had slavery in Rome and Greece. Chinese, like my brother just said. Can you talk about this being a phenomenon in history happening to other people, not just happening to black people, so we don't feel like we're the only people afflicted by this? Like we don't have that self-esteem issue, like like we're the only people that get treated bad like that.
Low, yeah.
Indeed, indeed. I would recommend the book to get. It's called Christian Slaves, Muslim Masters. Very good book, gives you the actual numbers of what was transpiring. When you deal accurately with the word slave, it derives from the word Slav, because the Slavs, or the Slavic people, were being slaved by Muslims. Exactly. And we're talking about in 1200 and earlier than that. So the process of slavery is a very, very old thing. In fact, some aspects and some misnomers of slavery will be getting dealt with in Philadelphia by the Magi himself. So you can get access to a video that I have on YouTube. It's called White Slavery 101, what they didn't teach you in history class. This particular video has over 130,000 views. And if you look at that video, don't just look at the 100,000+ views, look at the comments on there. You will have thousands, I'm talking about thousands of people admitting their own white family history of slavery. My family came from Ireland and they were over in the Bahamas, and they'll give you their own family history just in the comment section. So if you get access to some of those books, like White Cargo, it goes through these different aspects of the history, because yes, slavery is not an isolated phenomenon, but our version of slavery is an isolated phenomenon, and that's what matters to me as an African man, because in West Africa, it was a particular style of slavery that totally took us away of every element of our existence. They created an entirely different pseudo creature here in America with what they did to West African people. So that's why we're in a particular situation, and we have to get out of it a particular way. And that's what we're trying to counteract right now. So that's what really why we focus on why we do what we do. Did you want to share anything on that, brother?
God, no.
Man, he broke it down. What I do want to share on that is part of what I'm going to present in Philly is about the slavery, is a question I'm asking the people about Kemet. And I'm asking, was Kemet a slave-owning dictatorship, or was it a free man's cooperative economic conglomerate? And this is gonna beat y'all head when y'all see this information when I do this presentation in Philly. It's because we too stuck looking at stuff like white people. We already know, I'm a Raw Squad teach spirituality is food, clothing, and shelter. The Bible teach you that too, you just gotta get it right. Some entity came to this man named Abram and said, go to Egypt, it's food there. And you shelter there. So the first time any spiritual deity came to anybody of the Hebrew faith, it was about food, clothing, and shelter. You know what I'm saying? What was the first thing they sought after when they got to Kemet? Oh, take my wife up in the Pharaoh house. Cause she my sister. If I would have told you she was, I don't want to get off track, but I'm keeping it real. It all boiled down to one thing: us not really understanding our own history and the history of slavery. And what I'm gonna build on in Kemet is, again, in Philly, is to ponder the question of whether this was a slave-owning dictatorship or a free man's cooperative economic conglomerate. Why I say that is because we had companies in Nubia working to bring what they call tribute back, but it don't make sense when we do the proper analysis of any primary documentation. Let's pick one I'll go over tonight. And we all seen this one from the Tomb of Hoi. It's a Tutankhamun piece with a bunch of Nubians bringing stuff to Tutankhamun, but the piece is all broken down wrong. Dr. Wesley Muhammad messed it up tragically, and I corrected him in my book, Magi Handbook for the Conscious Community. He messed it up in Kemet, Nubia, back on black slavery, and he just messed it all up, and let me show you why. It's because in the Tomb of Hoi, see, there's something called a viceroy in Kemet, in Egyptology and Kemetology. A viceroy translates back to Sa Nisut. We all know what we know Sa, from Sinai, that's the sun, and we know Nisut. So then the viceroy was called Sa-Nisut, which means the son of the Nisut, the son of the king. But what we learned is that the viceroy was never the actual physical biological son of the king. The viceroy was always an appointed Nubian, a brother from Nubia who was to oversee the operations in the turquoise gold mines and in the rock quarries of Nubia. And so in the portrait where Dr. Wesley Muhammad said it was evidence of slave raids, it just showed he was puzzled. What it actually was Nubians bringing the work of the collective back to the viceroy, who was supposed to take that back to Tutankhamun. And the viceroy was Hoy. And so it was Nubians presenting their what they call tribute. What I call is just the production in this cooperative economic conglomerate. We can go even further. Look at any offering. Hotep, that's an offering. So now we got to see how this is all because you can't even come to the conglomerate without an offering. It's Hotep, you know what I'm saying? And so, let's go in. You know what I'm saying? If we think about, all right, let's think about this. Think about, it has to be, you know, every time we look into the social structure of Egypt, they show us this pyramid scheme with common man, the farmers, blah, blah, blah at the bottom, and the pharaoh at the top. But that's going to take some reassessing. And I don't want to, I don't want to put it all on, but it's going to take a little bit of time for us to reassess the officialdom of the kingdom and to see what I want us to ponder. Like, was the Nisut just a man who controlled distribution back to the consumers in the nation? And that's what it looked like it was, because you can look at any king's offering. A formula is called Hotep di Nisut, and if you look at them, it's always too much goods for one entity to consume. It's just common sense. If we bringing back 36 oxen and 48 cows, you know what I'm saying? It's obviously for distribution amongst the community. But we located the storehouses and the granaries and we got it all. And so, exactly, so it's coming from looking less like a dictatorship and more like you can just join by cooperating. I even got the documents. We can find a document called They Come from the Well of Ibet, where we find two magi coming to the great house, which was Per-Aa, but they, in translation, some thought it was the pharaoh, but they were coming to the great house asking to join the collective. So when we break this out in the presentation, it's going to force us to reconsider what we already knew was African spirituality. Socialism. What is the root to socialism? Cooperative economics. What if we talk about the canons of Kwanzaa? What we gonna come down to? Ujamaa, right? Cooperative economics. And so this is all African spirituality. And I just want to beat that in tonight in Philly. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man, let the brother. Yeah, and I also wanted to clarify. Number one, I wanted to thank Baba TV for having us and for building on that. And for the record, they never brought any slaves from Africa. They brought scholars, they brought builders, agriculturists,
Who they bought.
scholars. You know, they brought specific skilled people, warriors. They built specific skilled African people and then enslaved them. So there's a big difference on that, and that's what we're taking back. Thank you, Brother Baba.
Yes, sir. Well, I'm glad to meet you, brother, for the first time again. Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
For blessing my channel, giving me the privilege and opportunity. And on that note, I want to say peace and Black African power.
Black African power, family.